Welcome to a brief overview of Romans. I will leave both Mike Weiner and Ancient Egypt in the Bible some series on Romans for more in-depth thing. So Romans is a book jam-packed with theology and talks about Paul wanting to visit Rome. So this was written before his final journey when he went to Rome, and talks about the wrath of mankind. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the ungodliness and wickedness of man who suppress the truth in their wickedness. Yeah. Why are they getting punished? Because of their wickedness. What's their wickedness? Their sin, their evil deeds, the things they should not do, but they do. Because, of course they do. No, it's never a lack of knowledge. No, it's not. It's not because of someone else's deeds. No, it's yours. Yes. And then talks about how God's judgment is righteous. Oh yes, then it talks about the Jews and the law. Yes. It doesn't say God has rejected people. No. No, it's not. Yeah. And talk about God's faithfulness, how no one is righteous. As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away, they have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Because it's true, no one does good. They're all evil. There are no good people. It's not, oh, why does bad things happen to good people? No. There are no good people. Bad things happen to bad people. That's simple. Does that mean if a little 2-year-old girl or 5-year-old girl gets raped, she deserves it? No, that's Buddhism and Hinduism. Yeah. Or atheism, saying it doesn't really matter. Don't try to make Christianity Buddhism or Hinduism, because that's what those religions are. But now a righteousness from God, apart from law, has been made known, to which the law and the prophets testify. Yes, Abraham was justified through faith, through peace and joy, and death through Adam. Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, in this way death came to all men because all sinned. Not only with Adam, like the representative of all mankind, but start sinning more and more. There was this spiritual rebellion at Eden, where the demons rebelled and started tempting mankind, and they fell for it. And yes. Nevertheless, death reigned from the time of Adam to the time of Moses, even over those who did not sin by breaking a command, as Adam did, who was a pattern of the one to come. In other words, not breaking, they didn't have the law, so they can't be guilty of it. But Paul later says that they had, and of course, they have the law unto themselves because they do it. So there's that. Just got, but they still knew it's wrong, like murder and stuff. And then what happens? Jesus comes down and saves people. I don't get this. This weird, bizarre, it's truly bizarre idea. Well, the cross only lasted like this long. Like, so what? You're getting a get out of jail free card. You're getting a pardon for all your crimes. Why are you complaining that it wasn't long enough? That the person who saved you didn't suffer enough? If you were drowning in an ocean and someone in a boat came up to you and like, come on, let's get out of here. Were you like, well, you were trying to help yourself above the water as long as I did. You have a boat. Yeah, but I had to, like, it's not my boat. I had to convince this guy to get it. Eventually, I had to pay him some money and all blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but I was struggling. Or you're in a jungle. And some guy comes in finally to save you from the Amazon rainforest. And you're just like, no. I was here for months. You were here for like most a few weeks. Please spend like a year wandering around before you come and save me. Like, what is wrong with you? There's something seriously wrong with you. You don't get it, do you? Or a doctor staying up night after night trying to find the cure to your disease. They find it and you're like, no, I've been suffering more. Really? You don't have to be suffering anymore. Why do you care? It's that simple. And yes, Jesus took on the sin of everybody who accepts him. The punishment for all. So he did feel all the pain, just in that short amount of time. Oh yes. What shall we say? Shall we go on sinning so that grace may increase? No. So I'm repenting. Pray to God, I don't want to be sinning anymore. I know, I love it. I don't want to love it. No, this will lead to your... Take it away. I guess in marriage, illustration for marriage. Yes, for example, by a law, a married woman is bound to her husband for as long as he is alive, but if her husband dies, she is released from the law of marriage. Yes. So, there. So, my brothers, you also died to the law through the body of Christ, that you might belong to one another, to him who was raised from the dead, in order that we might bear fruit to God. So, this is saying you can now have a mini what? No. What this is saying is it's like you were used to be married to the law. But now you're dead to the law. And because you're dead, the marriage is annulled. See? That's what it's saying. Is the law a sin? No. Indeed, I would not have known that sin was what sin was except through the law. Yes. Did that which is good then become death to me? By no means, but in order that sin might be recognized as sin, it produced death in me through what was good, so that through the commandment, sin might become utterly sinful. You have no excuse. Yes. Then it talks about Israel's unbelief, the remnant of Israel, how this is just a temporary thing, it's not permanent. And ends with all of Israel to be saved. Yes. I do not want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. Yes. Then it says, as far as the gospel is concerned, they are enemies on your account. But as far as the election is concerned, they are loved in accordance of the patriarchs. So, for the gospel, they're enemies. What does that mean? It means make Israel jealous. It doesn't mean hate the Jews. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean hate the Jews. It doesn't. It means make Israel jealous. How do you make Israel jealous? Well, right now, the Jews are some of the smartest people on the planet. Why? Because they really drill it home into their kids to learn things. What we Christians drilled it into our kids to learn things. Like, really put their feet to the fire, like, held them to high standards to get good at math and just calculate, had them have tutors and all these other things to get them as smart as possible and put all our resources in trying to make them as smart as possible. Jews will memorize pretty much the entire Old Testament. We celebrate when kids learn a verse. God for so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Well, good job, Timothy. You remembered that verse. You get a gold star. Meanwhile, a Jew can recite the entire book of Ruth. And maybe the same amount of time if it's Ben Shapiro. So, memorize and learn the Old Testament. Yeah. Do that. Be good workers. Be good workers in showing that you're ready to serve. Show that something's happening here, that a group of Gentiles and Messianic Jews are getting blessings when they're not following the ideas of the rabbis, the rabbinic Judaism, that they accept this Jesus as their Messiah, and they're actually getting blessed more than Israel. Something's at the same level. Something's definitely happening here. Maybe this Jesus thing isn't just some made up nonsense to attack Jews, because it's not. But as far as the election is concerned, they are loved on account of the patriarchs. Yeah, the anti-Semites don't like that part. They're loved. Yeah, they are. Anyone who blesses Israel will be blessed, and he who curses Israel will be cursed. No, people who don't read the book of Numbers. That's not dispensationalism. That's the book of Numbers. And Balaam is giving his oracles. Sorry, but it is. Can help Israel and isn't attacking Israel. But it's making Israel jealous because they seem to get all the blessings of God too. Really making Israel go, okay, there's something going on here. And then when I mean Israel, I don't just mean the modern day nation state. I mean, well, unbelieving Israel. Believing Israel is, they're all right here. So, actually, if you're watching this, and I don't even know I'm watching this, but if you are, and you're a Messianic Jew, what are some good ways you could think of to help get your fellow Israelites to realize Jesus is their Messiah? Anyway, then how we're supposed to be living sacrifices. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. So worship is more than just singing. It's doing. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves. Yes. Do it. Submission to authority. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Yes. So unless they are telling you to do something against God, like in Acts, where it's like, stop talking about Jesus. No. Yes. Disobey governing authorities and their laws. If it doesn't contradict the law of God, which mainly moral laws, but it's like don't kill, don't steal, be nice to people, call out sin, preach the gospel. Guess what? Most country laws don't go against that. Unless you're Canada, then it's like, oh, if you say anything that might be construed as hate speech against LGBTQ, AIP, QRS, TUV, WXY, and Z, you can be arrested and dragged in front of the Human Rights Tribunal. Yeah. What do? Preach the gospel, all the same. Don't change anything. Yes. For he is God's servant to do you good. For he's God's servant. What is Trump? God's servant. I don't care if you think Trump believes that or not. This is talking about Roman times. The time of the Romans with Caesar. Caesar most definitely didn't believe that. Caesar didn't even act like that. Caesar thought he was a god himself. So, yeah. It doesn't matter what you think about Trump. Trump's God's servant, if he likes it or not. Simple as that. So, yes. What has this? For he does not bear the sword for nothing. So, he's God's servant, an agent of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. So, this would be Trump in the executive branch. Because the legislative doesn't do that. They make the law. Although technically that would also be what Caesar does, make the law. We kind of broke up the kingly role of legislative, head judicial, and well, head executive into the three branches. Yeah, that's essentially what it did. So, yeah, I would say Romans 13 through verses 1 through 7 is mainly talking about today the executive branch of government. Caesar's executive ways obey the laws the legislature passed. Okay, yes. And obey judicial decisions. That seems obvious. So yeah, that's how we would contextualize it for today. But remember, it wasn't written for us, so it's talking about the Romans. So this is we can use it for our system because it's not like, oh, you don't live under the Roman system anymore, so do whatever the frick you want. And it will vary country by country. Although most countries do have this executive, legislative, and judicial system now. So, yeah, give everyone what you owe him. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Okay. That seems straightforward. Pay taxes to the government. What do you of honor? Does that mean you have to call every representative, blah blah blah, or president, blah blah blah, Supreme Court justice, blah blah blah? Oh, they don't even push that most of the time. We live in a very humble country. we kind of do. But use your own discretion on that. Let no doubt remain outstanding, except no debt can remain outstanding, except the debt the continued debt to love one another. For he who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law. Yes. Except him whose faith is weak, without passing judgment in deployable matters. And then this is where it goes, like one man can to eat anything, but another man's faith is weak and only eats vegetables. And saying the man who eats everything cannot look down on him who doesn't, and man who doesn't eat everything must not condemn the man who does. Yeah, we have that problem where it's like, I know you don't drink, but I do just every once in a while. You're a drunkard! You get drunk every night! So blackout drunk, how much do you beat your wife? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. No, you're not following this command. You're not following this. You're not. You're not. Or, I have a tattoo. That's of Satan. I celebrate Halloween. That's Satan's birthday. Satan wasn't born. You just don't do it. Yeah, one man considers one day more sacred than another man considers every day alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. So what does this do to the denominations? The denominations, it makes them seem kind of stupid. Like the original church split was over if the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Son and the Father, or just the Father alone. Okay, there were like other political things and stuff, but that was like the main argument. The straw that broke the camel's back, the thing that broke them in half. They could have just kept communion going. It was like, okay, we'll do it over here, you do it over there. We should. Because this doesn't really affect anything of the creeds, or if it doesn't really affect any of the other things. And you're like, what do you mean that's the Yeah, that's what the East and West divide was about. That's Orthodox Christianity versus Western Christianity. Yeah, that's it. That was it. That's all. Yeah, they could have just kept that church and like, let's have people just talk about like this is what we think. This is what we think. And then we have Protestantism. You keep on saying reform, reform. Yeah, we're trying to reform the Catholic Church, and why aren't they Catholic? Huh? Yeah, why aren't they called Catholics? Just true Catholics. That should be it. You should be true Catholics, not Protestants. And Protestants just split off into many different branches. But now we will say, oh, none of the branches are really wrong. If we all have these core issues, but we won't go to each other's church. We won't call us the same church as those. We won't like be together as one church body because just say they're not wrong on the core issues and they're still Christian, but we won't say we're the same thing, but still call ourselves Methodists, Lutheran, Reformed Baptist, regular Baptist, Independent Baptist, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then non-denominational came along like, hey, so here's the core teachings of Christianity. Everyone, yes. So let's stick to the core teachings of Christianity and come together as one church and just try to bring as many people, spread the gospel as much as possible, stick to the core teachings of God as in the Bible as much as to 100%, and just like leave all this debate it's inside and stop putting all these labels on churches. Why are you stealing our congregants? Oh no! Why? Because you guys don't teach the gospel. You don't feed your sheep. You just go like, you aren't wearing a suit and tie. You sung something that wasn't a psalm. Did you say that baptism was not for infants? No. Wait, what's your definition of is? Calvinism, predestination. You don't believe it, you're not coming in. People are like, yeah, this is stupid. We can't vet our own people to make sure we aren't electing like literal Satanists or left wingers, liberals to like theological liberals to our positions. Our conversion rate among adults is like nothing. Why? Maybe because the younger generations are looking at this and like, this is stupid. No, the church didn't die. Yes, all the denominations that have all the core teachings of Christianity are Christian. Yes. Yes, they're all Christian. The church didn't die. What we're trying to say to you, and you just refuse to listen, is stop dividing. Stop it. Just stop. But what if we find a church and they're not teaching the truth? Like one of the actual pieces of truth, one of the core doctrines. Call them out on it. That, that's simple. Yeah. Maybe we could have a little bit more structure in a non-denominational setting. Maybe the only because non-denominational doesn't mean there is no structure. All non-denominational means, and something you guys just don't seem to get or understand, is there's no denomination. None. No, it doesn't mean, oh, we're establishing the one true church again. No. But this guy, when he, like, during the second grade, who gives a who cares? Who honestly cares? Who honestly cares? Non-denominational is like, let's just focus on the core teachings. So who cares what some guy during the second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth, whatever Great Awakening said? Who cares? Who cares? Simple. Who cares? Non-denominational doesn't mean secret Baptist, because guess what? Non-denominationals can drink alcohol. Yeah. Maybe the only reason you think that is because Baptists are like the most milquetoast Christians ever. Unless it comes to potlucks. Food. Yeah. Then, what else does non-denominational mean? Does it mean everyone's its own independent church and coming up with their own theology? No. Because guess what? If every church is just a Christian church, that's non-denominationalism. Because there are no denominations. Duh. There are no denominations. If there are no denominations, then that's non-denominationalism. Duh. Oh, but that's just if each church is just geared to what a person wants, what it fits the most in. Isn't that a cult? What do you mean? You're calling the denominations cults now? Yeah, that's what the denominations are. Oh, you want communion every this often and go to this type of church. You want to wear suit and tie and sing only psalms in the most monotone voice ever while there's no instruments around, go to this type of church. You want to practice some of the sacraments? Two more than the Protestants have? Yes, the Protestants have sacraments, the communion and baptism. We just don't go into that. Go to this type of church. We don't want to be Catholic. Go to the other type, this other type. Yeah, that's what the denominations are. They're flavors of ice cream. They're all ice cream, just different flavors. So then each of us will give an account of God, no, account of himself to God. That's, yeah, you think that's gonna be fun? No, it's not. This will be the most humbling time of your entire life. And mine. Oh man, that's so good. Yeah. So then make up your mind not to put any stumbling block or obstacle in your brother's way. Okay. Then it talks about his ministry to the Gentiles. And then him visiting Rome. One more time, and then some personal greetings to a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that's how the book of Romans ends. Then, like I said, I'm going to be leaving two Roman commentaries, one by Ancient Egypt in the Bible, another by Michael Near, where they go like verse by verse through Roman, Ancient Egypt, Bible, more like two sections of Roman. So you get more depth. Roman. Yes. Anyway, that's all for today. So you next time if no one's watching, that's right. For Corinthians. I just do Corinthians to cover both Corinthians. 1 Corinthian and 2 Corinthian. I feel like calling it that just because it bugs me.